Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll be showing you how to repair your drive shaft in your car or truck. Now this truck here is a 1990 Ford Bronco, but this technique will work on many other trucks out there. Now usually signs of a bad drive shaft are vibrations at low or high speeds. But in my case, I have vibrations at both low and high speeds, so it's definitely time to repair that drive shaft. Now this particular truck does take the Double Cardan Style drive shaft, which does utilize 3 U-joints and a CV ball joint as well. So I'll be showing you how to replace these components. Now let's get started. Now the first step is to remove the drive shaft, but before you do that, make sure you set the parking brake and block your rear wheels. Now the drive shaft is out, and upon further inspection, I did notice that I have up and down play, but very limited side to side movement. And that's probably what's giving me my vibration. Now I will begin with that lower U-joint first, so let's get started on that now. So the first thing you'll want to do is remove all the U-joint retainers. Now for this next step, you will need a ball joint press to press out these U-joints. Once you have it all set up, you can go to town. Once you press it out far enough, you can remove the cap with some channel locks. And now you can do the other side. Now once you have your U-joints removed, clean up the flange. You don't want any dirt or debris to get inside of the new needle bearings. Now I will be using the Spicer sealed U-joints, as these are stronger than the greasable kind. Now carefully pop off the caps and set them all off to the side. Now position the U-joint into the flange. And now we can press in the top cap. Make sure they're lined up and press it in. Now install the flange assembly onto the drive shaft. And press in the cap. And now you can install the last cap. And now you can install your snap rings. And now for the fun side, let's remove all of the snap rings first. Now for the double cardan, you'll want to remove the lower U-joint first, the one that's closest to the drive shaft. Now in this style, you'll have to remove one cap at a time. So what you'll do is you'll push the U-joint out, remove the cap, then push the U-joint back in and remove the cap on the other side. So once you have it pressed all the way through, remove your cap. And you can slide off your cardan. Now finish removing the lower U-joint. Now you will need to remove and replace this seal here. So tap it off with the screwdriver. And now we can get started on the cardan U-joint. Now in this case, since this is a smaller piece, the vise can barely grab onto it. It's going to take a lot of torque to remove these U-joints. So I'm going to use an impact wrench to whip these out. Now again, do one side at a time, remove the cap, push it back in, and remove the other cap. Now on the cardan flange, you will have to remove the CV ball and seal, and you can do that with the pry bar. Or you can use a hammer instead. So I've cleaned up my flanges and now I'm ready to tap in my new CV ball joint. But before I do that, I'm going to load this up here with grease. Now set the CV ball in place and use a socket to tap it in. And now tap in your seal too. Now set the U-joint into the flange side first. And now carefully set the flange into the double joint. And now press in the last cap on the flange. Now install the new seal onto the drive shaft. Now carefully take the spring out of the CV ball and place it inside of the drive shaft. Now make sure you put a light coat of grease inside of here as well. Now this is where it can get a little tricky. You'll have to place this bare U-joint inside of the drive shaft. And then you'll have to finagle this double cardan onto the centering pin without knocking down any of these needle bearings. Once your cardan is centered, you can continue installing the rest of your caps. And you can finally install the rest of your snap rings. And now you can see I have full movement again. And it's nice and firm. Now let's go reinstall it. And now it's time to reinstall the drive shaft. Now I do want to mention that if you have a thud coming to a stop and then you have another thud taking off from a stop, that usually means that the drive shaft splines need to be greased. And you can do that by removing one of these clamps and the two drive shaft halves will separate from each other. Then clean up the drive shaft splines really well and coat them very generously with grease. Reassemble it and you should be good to go. Now I've already done that to this drive shaft, so we're ready to rock. Alright guys, so we repaired that drive shaft. And that double cardan joint is nice and firm. Now there are a couple of different variations to the double cardan joint, but the repair process is pretty much the same for all of them. Now if this video helped you guys, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.